Hello, everyone. I'm Terralon. Welcome to Time Out with Tinseltown Mom. We're back for part 2 of our conversation with Kristen Jenson, founder of Protect Young Minds and best-selling author of Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, Porn-Proofing Today's Young Kids, and Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Jr., A Simple Plan to Protect Young Minds. Now, if you missed part 1 of our episode where we discussed ways kids can arm themselves against the harmful effects of pornography, then I really encourage you to please download part 1 and take a listen. Today, we're going to continue our conversation about porn-proofing our kids and hone in on how parents can protect their kids from porn's harmful effects. And Kristen will provide a framework in which parents can follow. Welcome back to our conversation. I also want to talk about like a framework for parents, just some practical ways, just so we can kind of arm them, within this conversation, some practical ways that they can go about, protecting their kids. And I know you mentioned a what, why, and how. Can you just kind of practically go through those scenarios?
Well, sure. Well, what's our responsibility when it comes to our kids? Well, it's arming them early because they have unprecedented access to the internet and to predators on the internet. They have curiosity that is even greater because there's so many sexual cues in the environment. And we do need to start those talks about sex earlier. When I did a study of 10 people who were addicted to pornography, the one thing that they all had in common was that none of their parents had talked to them about sex. And so we need to be the sex experts. So why are we doing this? I want to make this loud and clear. If people don't remember anything else from this podcast, it's that kids are safer from sexual abuse when you have warned them about pornography. And that is because porn is used to groom kids. I had a mom contact me, and we wrote about it on our website. Her 6-year-old son, they were over at a friend's house. The friend had a basement where she had a renter, a single man. And so she had the kids' toys in one corner, just at the bottom of the stairs, right? And so they went over for dinner, and the kid said, "We want to play with these toys." And she goes, "Okay, well, you can go right down, pick out the toys, and come back up." But when her 6-year-old went downstairs, there that man was. And he said, "Come here, I want to show you something." And he showed this little boy gay porn on, and he says, "This is really good to watch. This is fun to watch. You want to watch it with me?" And so because this little boy, though, had been warned, like he knew he knew he was seeing pornography. He went right back up and told his mom what had happened because he knew to be alarmed. He knew to alert her. Otherwise, he might not have said anything. He might not have, or he might have just said, "Oh, there's a guy down there. He showed me something." I mean, he might not have known. He might not have recognized. So that's the thing that so important that children recognize. Pornography is used so often. It's so common. It breaks down barriers. It desensitizes children. It shows them what you want them to do. It normalizes it. So why wouldn't people that are trying to abuse children, why wouldn't they use it? Of course they use it. So not only are you keeping them safer from addiction, which is a whole nother really bad problem, and from mental health issues that come with, looking at pornography, objectification, and all of that, and addiction, you're keeping your kids safer from sexual predators. And I wish I could say that, that it's an uncommon thing, but we all have heard the statistics about how many kids are abused as children. And it's often people they know. So please warn your children about pornography so that they can come to you and tell you when they've seen it, and then the red flags will go up, right? And why is this person showing my child pornography? And so the books make it really easy. And what they accomplish are three things. And so this is the how, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, and Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior both do these three things. And that is one, give kids a definition of bad pictures or pornography. Now, in the junior version, you don't have to say pornography if you don't want to. But I say, let's take this word and let's have control over it. Let's not let it cow us into fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
uh, make us cower. So, first of all, you need to give kids a definition so they recognize it when they see it. Simple, age-appropriate definition, which is what we have in the book, which is pornography is pictures, videos, cartoons of people with little or no clothing on that focus on the parts of the body we keep covered with a swimsuit. And yes, that's kind of basic nudity that focuses on the private parts, but kids don't need to know much more than that, because if they're seeing nudity online, I don't think they're seeing the Sistine Chapel, right?
Yeah.
It's not the David, right?
Yeah.
It's probably pornographic or sexual contact that you probably don't want your kids being uh, or seen and being influenced by. So the second thing is, so you got the definition, then the warning. In the junior book we talk about it's like picture poison, right? And in the other book we talk about how it can become an addiction, and we talk about the brain science and how it can escalate into an addiction. And then third, we have to give kids a plan. We have to teach them exactly what to do when you see pornography. And we have to open the door, make it comfortable for them to come and talk to us, ask us any question. If they hear something at school, a phrase that they don't recognize, have them come to you. So many times, some of this slang is sexualized, and if they go looking for it online, they're going to run into sexual content. And when I say sexual content, I mean pornographic content. I don't think sex is bad. I personally like sex,
Yeah.
but we have to warn our kids not about like, oh, sex is bad, but watching pornography is not sex positive. It is sex negative, as I've said before. So a definition, a warning, and a plan. And the junior book has the turn, run, and tell plan, and the senior book has the can do plan, which not only teaches kids what to do in the moment when they see pornography, but what to do when those memories come flooding back. So, and how to kind of minimize those things. And so a definition, a warning, and a plan. Those are the three things that you need to at least begin with in arming your children to be resilient against pornography.
That's excellent. And then I know earlier you mentioned that some kids, they see porn and they don't like it. There's other kids who see porn and they're more intrigued by it. Have you done any studies that determines that some people or kids are more prone to have an attraction towards this? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I have not personally done any studies on that. We're all different. We all have different, sure, some kids are going to be much more prone to be interested in this kind of stuff, and some kids are going to be able to say, nah, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if we warn them ahead of time and at least communicate our values, our thoughts, our position, which is what we need to do as parents, because when they grow up and they turn 18 or 20 and they leave, they can determine their own opinions. But it's incumbent upon us as parents to do our very best to teach them what we believe is the best way,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't hesitate to try to teach your children to reject pornography. They have a whole rest of their adult lives to change their minds,
Yeah.
right, if they want to.
Yeah.
But at least they'll have a foundation of what you thought. Some kids, I know some kids are much just like as people. Some people are more, have more sexual Interest in others not as much. It's normal, but we still need to protect kids. Now, when you said that some kids feel like shocked or disgusted, and some kids are intrigued, well, I would say that most kids feel both. They may
But
be shocked, but they're also intrigued
at the same time, you're
at
saying
the
they have
same
those
time,
same
and that's
feelings.
yeah, that's why it's so confusing.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky. I personally feel like a lot of the social media channels, I won't name them, but I feel like some of the content that they allow on their channels is just an entryway into porn. Do you think anyone's like trying to address that? Like the social
Yes.
media? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation recently had a symposium just on, making safe spaces online. There is a fixappratings.com, which is basically saying we should not leave it up to these apps to rate themselves as far as age appropriate,
Yeah,
levels
yeah. I
because
agree.
they should have a rating system like movies do and like video games. And when you look at, I'll name them Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all these things that
Yeah.
say that they're like appropriate for 12-year-olds or 4-year-olds. um, it's ridiculous. So I would advise if you want your child to have a smartphone and access to all the predators on the planet and have those people have access to your child um, and all the porn on the planet, then yeah, give them a smartphone without restrictions. But I would say if they want to put an app on there, you be in charge. First of all, don't give a kid a smartphone. Lend them your smartphone or have a device that is the family device they get to use, you know, but you've got the rules. You
So
set the rules.
so what you're saying is, so you're saying there's a middle schooler, they're going to get their first phone. You're saying don't make it a smartphone, make it a flip phone.
Oh,
A flip
make it a
phone.
flip phone. Yeah, we have a four stage guide. We have what's the right age to give kids a smartphone. We have a blog post about that. We have a plan,
Mhm.
a four-stage plan. We just published something not too long ago on some of the options like Gab Wireless and Clearphone, and they think there was another one. And so, yes, do your kids a favor. Like, don't give them a smartphone. Like, wait as long as you can.
What age
And
now? I
oh
need guidance
gosh,
on this myself, Kristen. Please help
um,
me.
well, I was just talking with a friend who knew two families, and one family had given their kids smartphones early. I mean, they were like neighbors and they were good friends, and the other had held off. And in fact, they wouldn't let their kids have a smartphone till they were 16, and they wouldn't let them get on social media till they were like a senior in high school, which, of course they complained about it, but they kept their kids busy in lots of activities. The kids didn't seem to be the worst for it. They weren't stunted socially. Um, and then, when the daughter finally got on social media and she was just like, oh my goodness, I would not have handled this very well when I was, 12 or 14. She was glad that her parents forced her to wait. Now,
Mhm.
those kids, even if they don't have social media, they're going to be able to see it on other kids' phones. So you still have to talk with them about it. I would just say if your kids are gonna be involved with Snapchat or any of these apps like that, Instagram, that you put it on your phone. You make sure you live with it for at least 7 days, and you pretend that you're, the age of your child, with the
Hmm.
curiosity of that child, and you go see what you can find. And let me tell you, on Snapchat, I sat with a friend who pointed all this out to me one afternoon, and I was absolutely in shock. Snapchat used to just be, something you took pictures with. It's now on, and then they disappeared, right? Well, what's the harm in that? Now it's a full-on video streaming platform. So these porn performers who also link with their Instagram accounts, um, you can find these porn performers. They put up teaser videos
Oh my.
that are very pornographic. Um, and and then, if you get Snapchat Premium, come on, see me F my boy, my date. I
Wow.
mean, that is just, there's one gal on there that's what she does. She gets Tinder dates. She gets them to have sex with her, and she streams it on Snapchat.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so like we've got to and this just happened in the last few years. So things change all the time. We can't play an old tape in our mind. We have to keep up with this stuff. That's why we put out parent alerts on Protect Young Minds all the time, so that parents can have a way to keep up with this without, having to troll the internet themselves. We put out parent alerts and, help you see this is what you should be worried about. This is what you should be looking for and concerned about.
Now, is
So
there
we try.
Yeah, no, you guys are doing a great job. Do you have a filter that you could recommend just to put on let's say a kid does have a smartphone. A lot of kids have smartphones these days. But is there like a filter you can put on the phone that'll combat whether they have
So
YouTube or whatever other applications they
yeah.
may have that'll, kind of stop some of this porn from coming up on their screens?
Well, okay. So there's a couple of things. Um, a straight up filter, like on the internet, is only going to filter a very small part. It can't, because it really can't. And this would turn into like a long technical discussion, but believe me, filters, your typical filters, I would say are great for young children, for devices, like the internet, like internet websites, right? But as far as apps, I don't know of any filter that can go in and filter an app. There are some apps that you can set parental controls. And
Yeah.
like YouTube Kids, I would definitely not let any kids on YouTube. None. Zip.
None at all.
Zero.
Okay.
Like they have to be a teen until they can, I mean, like seriously, the content that's on YouTube. But YouTube Kids is, even they've had some problems. But the thing is filters can't follow a child into an app, and there are in-app browsers. So your child can get into an app and then get out onto the internet, and away they go.
Yeah.
And you can't see where they've been. So the thing that I would say is educate your children, persuade your children. But as far as filters, I would say it's more like accountability software. Right? So it's more like there's something called Bark. There's something called Covenant Eyes. These are things that are able to report back to you the conversations your kids are having, texting, websites that they've been to, apps that they've, whatever. And so you at least know what they're doing. Now there's another product, and more are coming along that are used AI, artificial intelligence, to look at a screen and decide, is this porn or not porn? And Covenant Eyes has a product now, and it will look at a screen, and again, it's more of a reporting. It can tell if your kid's been looking at porn and report back to you. So there are those products out there. I feel like you should do all of these parental controls, filters on your computers, and then accountability software that will send you reports, from the other devices and the apps. Just know that it's hard to follow a kid into an app and know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's why they have to have an internal filter, and that's why you have to have a good relationship with them. We talk a lot about, why do kids go to porn? Why are they interested in it? They're not supposed to be sexual until they're in their puberty, right? But they are curious. and they can be sexualized at an early age. And unfortunately, they're just not prepared. Nature has not prepared them to deal with it. So it's so important that we warn children early. Also, we take a very strong interest in what they're looking at, what they're doing online. We curtail their use of screens. I definitely am for that. There's a lot of science out there that's saying that, too many hours on screens is very detrimental to their brain development.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole nother podcast, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, and we are closing, but you mentioned something that probably triggered a lot of moms. They're like scratching their heads right now. You mentioned the dreaded YouTube, which really scares me. But there's a lot of kids who are on YouTube, and I know you mentioned they shouldn't be on YouTube. Let's say there is a child, they are on YouTube, and it's just something that their kids do. Like, do you have any recommendations maybe on your website to how to make it safer? You do?
Yeah, we have. Yes. So just go to protectyoungminds.org, put in the search bar YouTube. We have there's some great ways that you can work with that and protect your kids. I would say if they're young kids, I would just get the app, the YouTube Kids app. That would be the best thing, I think. If your kids are on YouTube, I don't know. There are some things you can do. Go read. There are some parental controls you can set up. I know YouTube has really been under fire for, some of this stuff. That's why they came up with YouTube Kids. But again, it goes to that persuading your child. What are they putting in their brain?
Yeah.
And why? Why is this stuff toxic? Why? And if you can get to the why yourself and clarify, why is this a problem? Then you can persuade your children that, you don't want their brains cluttered up with this garbage and this toxic material. I'll just say at the end, our children are whole persons. They have a brain. They have a personality. They have gifts. They have talents. They have a whole life ahead of them. And porn will just do so much damage. And I just plead with parents, think about it. Think about how our culture teaches, especially girls, but boys too, to turn themselves into objects, right? Objects, and to be consumed really by others.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's so sad. I want to, when I was raising my daughters, I wanted them to appreciate their brains, their intelligence, their personalities. I didn't want it to all just be on how they looked. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what porn does, the ultimate objectification. But it's our culture's been pornified. Kids are sexualized at an early age, and I just feel like it's stunting them. It's hurting them, and we can do better for our children. We can do it. We can help our kids appreciate themselves as whole, beautiful people, and not just bodies, to be objectified and to be, here, I'm going to take a picture of myself, inappropriate, a sext, and send it to somebody. That's just evidence. The kids are sexting, just evidence that we as a culture have taught them that they should objectify themselves, that they're just products to consume.
Right. I love how you wrap this all up, Kristen.
I'm really perfect. Makes me so bad.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Yeah, so people should actually go to your website, protectyoungminds.org, and get on your mailing list as well. And you'll send, what will you send them if they get on your mailing list?
We have all kinds of guides. We have so many resources. There's the SMART guide that I mentioned earlier. There's the quick start guide for people that don't know anything about this and want to get a quick start and get themselves educated before they begin this conversation. There's links to our books. We're on Amazon. Go read the 600 reviews if you have time
Yeah.
on Amazon of our books, and see how comfortable parents feel about it and how much they're recommending it to others. So thank you so much, Carolyn, for having me, and I hope this has been really helpful. But the way that we can continue to help everyone that's listening is just we only send out one email a week. We're not going to bombard you. We don't spam you. We never sell our list ever, ever, ever. So you're very safe with Protect Young Minds.
For more on Kristen Jenson or ways to porn-proof your kids, please visit protectyoungminds.org. Thanks for listening to Time Out with Tinseltown Mom. If you liked what you heard today, please be so kind and rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time.